Imagine running the most powerful criminal organization in America, controlling billions of dollars, commanding over 200 made members, directing murders, owning unions, and pulling strings across New York City, and yet law enforcement can barely find a photograph of you. No flashy lifestyle, no press conferences from the feds announcing your arrest, no infamous mugshot plastered on the news, just silence. That is the story of Liborio Barney Bellomo, a man so careful, so calculated, and so deeply hidden in the shadows that even the FBI described him as a virtually invisible man. He didn't just run the Genovese crime family, he made it untouchable. Liborio Salvatore Belli Bellomo was born on January 8, 1957. His roots in organized crime go back further than most people realize. His grandfather, also named Liborio Bellomo, was born in Corleone, Sicily, the same town made famous by The Godfather, and moved to the United States. This was not a coincidence of geography. The Bellomo family carried the mafia culture across the Atlantic, generation by generation. Barney's father, Salvatore Bellomo, was a Genovese soldier and close associate of Anthony Fat Tony Salerno, one of the most powerful mob figures in American history. So when Barney was born, he wasn't just born into a family, he was born into a dynasty. But what makes Barney's story truly remarkable is that he didn't simply inherit power, he earned it faster than almost anyone before him. He graduated from Monsignor Scanlon High School in the Bronx and spent a year at college majoring in mortuary science. That choice of study, learning how to handle the dead, would turn out to be darkly fitting. In 1977, at the age of just 20, Bellomo was inducted into the powerful Genovese crime family. The induction ceremony took place above an East Harlem pizzeria. Most men spent decades trying to get made. Barney did it before his 21st birthday. His climb inside the family was nothing short of extraordinary. He was made by 20, a captain by 30, and a boss by 33. In the criminal world, that kind of speed is unheard of. In the early 1980s, Genovese family boss Vincent Gigante accepted the advice of his underboss and favored Liborio Bellomo. Soon after, with the light of leadership on his back, Bellomo made huge profits through bookmaking, gambling, and loan sharking. He then invested mafia funds in real estate, construction companies, waste management companies, and vending machine distribution businesses. While other mobsters spent their money on nightclubs and fancy cars, Barney quietly built an empire behind legitimate-looking businesses. One of his most significant power plays was his control over labor unions. Bellomo became responsible for control over labor unions associated with the Jacob Javits Convention Center in Manhattan. This was not small-time extortion. The Javits Center was and remains one of the largest convention facilities in the country. A report by the New York State Organized Crime Task Force indicated that an alarmingly high number of the carpenters who worked at the Javits Center had ties to organized crime, some of whom were made members of the five families. These carpenters were earning $100,000 salaries, and 60 out of 100 had criminal records. Tribute payments flowed directly to Barney. He was taxing an entire industry. What made Barney truly dangerous, though, was not his violence, it was his invisibility. He dressed in jeans and sweatshirts, would only meet fellow wise guys late at night in odd places, and avoided the Manhattan limelight while steadily building his power. He used various nicknames and pseudonyms to avoid the law and cause confusion in investigations, including Barney, Skinny Guy, Barney Boy, Kid, Benny, Young Barney, Leo, Tommy Barney, Liborio Bloom, and Barney Bloom. Even the FBI struggled to track him. Then came the moment that would define the next chapter of his life. Bellomo had already been handpicked to become acting boss of the family in 1990 by then-boss Vincent Chin Gigante, while Gigante dealt with heat from the feds. Bellomo became the acting boss of the Genovese organized crime family in or about 1992, following the incarceration of Genovese family boss Vincent Gigante. He was now officially running the most powerful crime family in America, at an age when most men are still figuring out their careers. But the FBI was watching closely. On June 11, 1996, Bellomo was indicted on Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act charges, including the murders of mobster Ralph Di Simone and Antonio Di Lorenzo, extortion and labor racketeering. Di Lorenzo was found shot to death in the backyard of his home in West New York, New Jersey. Di Simone was found in the trunk of his car at LaGuardia Airport in Queens, shot 5 times. Both were allegedly murdered because the Genovese leadership believed they were government informants. The murder charges were serious, but Barney's lawyers fought back hard. Given the state of expertise in polygraphy at the time and the credentials of the polygraphers used, there could be little doubt that Bellomo was legally and factually innocent of the homicide charges. The government, unable to prove the murders beyond doubt, offered a deal. Bellomo then reached a plea deal on charges including labor racketeering, bookmaking, and the long-time extortion of vendors at the San Gennaro festival. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison and had to forfeit about $250,000. Even behind bars, his power never faded. Following his incarceration, and even after being replaced as acting boss, Bellomo retained significant power and authority within the Genovese organized crime family, and he continued to be consulted on and make decisions with respect to the family's criminal activities. Prison walls, it turned out, meant very little to a man of his standing. He was sent to prison after copping a plea on 2 racketeering indictments and was able to skate around the murder charges. He served his time from 1996 to 2008. When he walked out, he did so quietly. No celebrations, no headlines, no fanfare. And that was exactly the point. He has been extremely low-key and squeaky clean since his 2008 release. But law enforcement sources claim that even though it hasn't been proven that he has committed a crime since then, there is no doubt that he is the Genovese family boss. He's the most powerful mafia boss in the country, the leader of the Genovese crime family, the so-called Ivy League of organized crime. Yet Liborio Barney Bellomo remains an enigma, a virtually invisible man both to wise guys and to the law enforcement community. Most criminals want to be seen. Barney Bellomo understood something far more powerful, that the most dangerous man in the room is often the one you never noticed was there.